Ever been caught in the web of emotions, like they're tricky handcuffs restraining you or heavy anchors pulling you down? Well, here's a game changer. What if I told you there's a key to unlock that emotional grip? What if we could morph these emotions into powerful tools instead of confining chains? Today, let's explore the art of standing strong amid the emotional storm. Stick with me because you're not one to back down. And trust me, you won't want to miss out on this ride. 1. Don't let love overpower you. It's a fantastic feeling that ties us together and gives life meaning. But when it gets too intense or one-sided, it can mess with your head, lay bare your vulnerabilities, and even bring on the blues if it's not reciprocated. Those old Stoic thinkers knew a thing or two about emotional balance. Take Marcus Aurelius, for example. He said, "You control your thoughts, not what happens around you." Basically, he was onto something. The power to love without getting too wrapped up in it. It's about cherishing a bond without letting it take over your entire life. Think about that time you cared so much for someone that their choices dictated your happiness. The feeling of betrayal, the ache from lost love, or the hit from unfulfilled wishes. Not easy to deal with, but what if you could love just as deep without all the exposed risks? The trick is understanding that love, like every emotion, comes and goes. While it's around, enjoy it, but don't let it be the anchor holding you back. Instead, see it as a gust pushing your journey, suggesting but not forcing your path. Your journey should be in your hands. Master the art of loving without getting too attached, and you shield your heart and strengthen your soul. You can build meaningful connections without the fear of losing yourself in them. It's the first step to real emotional balance, where you're the boss of your feelings, not the other way around. 2. Care less, dial back empathy. Understanding and feeling what someone else is going through is often praised as a top-notch human virtue. It's the glue that bonds us, the comfort in consoling, and the bridge to relate. But let's be real, too much empathy can drain us, mess with our minds, and wear down our spirit. It might even pull us into other people's messes, and guess what? Sometimes at our own cost. Remember what the wise philosopher Epicurus said. It's your reaction to events, not the events themselves, that truly counts. Especially when it comes to empathy, it's cool to feel it, but you've got to know when to step in and when to take a step back. Imagine a sponge that never stops soaking up water. If it keeps swelling without a good squeeze, it becomes useless, right? Same goes for us when we get too emotionally wrapped up in everything and everyone. We end up overloaded, vision blurred, energy drained, and our own dreams take a backseat. It's not about ignoring others' feelings or situations. It's about intentional empathy. It's deciding when to dive in emotionally and when to chill a bit. That way, you shield yourself from unnecessary emotional drama. And when you do decide to feel, make it real, focused, and meaningful. On the road to emotional balance, knowing when and where to empathize is gold. It helps you navigate life with clarity, making sure your emotional energy isn't wasted on every passing feeling or event. Cut questions or ideas. Drop a comment. And if you're not subscribed, hit that button now. 3. Avoid negative people. The people we keep around us have a big say in how we feel, think, and overall, our well-being. Just like one bad apple can mess up the whole bunch, a negative person can cast a shadow over our existence, sucking out our energy and muddling our judgments. Those Stoics were onto something about self-care and valuing oneself. They knew we can't change how others act, but we sure can choose our crew. Diogenes, with his Stoic wisdom, said, "We got 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we should listen twice as much as we talk." It's a hint to be cautious about who we hang with and pay attention to our gut feelings. Take a sec and think about your life. Are there folks consistently spreading gloom, planting seeds of doubt, or talking down your goals? It's important to spot those bad vibes and step away. It's not about holding on to grudges. It's about knowing that for your emotional well-being, some connections need loosening or cutting off. Letting go of toxic people isn't mean. It's about self-respect. It shows you put your inner peace and emotional balance first. By doing that, you strengthen your surroundings, making sure there's no room for negativity or doubt. If you're on the path to being emotionless, taking this step is key. It's about upgrading your emotional space, filling it with positive vibes, genuine support, and real care. Remember, gaining control over your emotions starts by making sure what's around you aligns with your inner goals. 4. Keep your feelings to yourself. In a world that pushes us to spill everything and wear our hearts on our sleeves, there's a quiet strength in keeping things on the down low. Sure, it's important to speak up in many situations, but the real power is knowing when to reveal your deepest feelings and thoughts. Those Stoics, they knew what was up, preaching about the importance of inner peace and warning against fishing for approval from others. Marcus Aurelius dropped some truth, saying, "Your life's joy is determined by the nature of your thoughts." When we keep seeking feedback or waiting for responses from the outside, we basically hand over control of our emotions to others. Think about those times you shared a personal win or a core belief to get a pat on the back or to hear what others think. What usually happens? Negativity, maybe some teasing. Those moments can mess with our heads and shake our self-belief. But what if you could hold the reins? What if external opinions didn't dictate your emotional state? Choosing not to spill every emotion or belief isn't about holding back. It's about taking control. It's understanding that not every inner voice needs an external ear, and our experiences don't always need a stamp of approval from others. Practicing this kind of self-discipline builds up your inner confidence. Your feelings, values, and thoughts stand strong, no longer swayed by what others might think. In the quest to be less emotional, this principle is your shield. It ensures your emotional foundation stays rock solid, unfazed by the ever-shifting views and feedback from the outside world. 5. Set limits. Avoid constant availability. Whether they're physical or emotional, boundaries are a must for keeping our identity intact and safeguarding our mental well-being. In a world where being constantly connected is the norm, and there's this unspoken pressure to always be reachable, putting up these limits might seem tough. But trust me, it's a key step to dial down the emotions and build up some resilience. The Stoics were onto something about the value of time and self-reflection. Seneca, that wise dude, said, "All the time you possess is truly yours." But how often do we waste it by always jumping at every notification, meeting every request without a second thought? When we don't set limits, it's like telling the world our time, energy, and feelings are up for grabs. No big deal. Always being on call can drag us into fatigue, unhappiness, feeling weighed down, and sometimes even despair. Picture leaving your home's doors and windows wide open, letting anything and everything disrupt your peace. Boundaries, my friend, are a way of saying, "I value myself." It's showing that you treasure your time, your emotional space, and that inner calm. It's about saying no without guilt, taking time for personal reflection without giving an excuse, and understanding that being a bit choosy in your availability doesn't mean you care any less for others. It just means you care about yourself too. On the journey to being less emotional, having clear limits is key. It's like putting up a shield, making sure your emotional bank isn't constantly drained. This way, you can keep a sense of balance and energy regardless of what the world throws at you. 6. Put yourself first and keep it real. As we wrap up our journey into emotional toughness, Rule 6 hammers home the importance of looking out for numero uno and being straight up. If you really want to stay cool and come out on top, you gotta take care of yourself. It's not about ditching others, but realizing you can't lend a hand if your own cup is empty. Picture this. You're on a plane, right? They tell you to put on your oxygen mask before helping others. Life's the same deal. Be emotionally solid and thriving before you can be a true helping hand. Being straight up is a game changer for emotional strength. It's about stating your thoughts, wants, and limits loud and clear. No need to be mean. Just be crystal clear, ditch the vague hints, and forget about trying too hard to keep everyone smiling. Being upfront cuts the confusion, eases tension, and builds real connections with those who dig honesty. Living by this vibe means making choices that match your dreams and values. It's about setting boundaries and sticking to your true self. No regrets attached. Light that fire within, and don't let anything stand in your way. Life's a ride, but you're built to win. Oh, and don't forget to hit subscribe for more cool videos. Now, dig deep, own the day, and stay strong.